Hello, good people. How are you? I hope all of you are well and always in health condition. Here, our topic is the Romantic era or Romanticism. Our group consists of three members, which are Anjeli, Inne, and Ali. Okay, there are three poets that we are going to discuss. The first is William Wordsworth, the second is Mary Shelley, and the last is Percy Shelley. Okay, this is the biography of William Wordsworth. He was born on April 7, 1770 in Cockermouth, Cumberland, England. He grew up among the woods and lakes and mountains of the northwestern part of England, south of the Scottish border. He was an orphan at 13. It was so sad because when he was 7 years old, his mother died. He married with his childhood friend named Mary Hutchinson. He also ever fell in love with Frenchwoman named Annette Vallon. And then the poet William Wordsworth worked with Samuel Taylor Coleridge on lyrical ballads in 1798. The collection, which contained Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey, introduced Romanticism to English poetry. He also showed his affinity for nature with the famous poem I Wander Lonely as a Cloud. He also became England's Poet Laureate in 1843, a role he held until his death in 1850. William Wordsworth is a founder of the Romantic movement of English literature. His style of writing is emotions and imaginations. He was called as a poet of nature or a worshipper of nature. He held a firm faith that nature could enlighten the kind-heartedness and universal brotherhood of human beings, and only existing in harmony with nature where man could get true happiness. Many of his poems are full of memories of a happy childhood close to nature. He tells us about walking on the smooth green turf on mountain valleys, bathing in a mill stream, snaring birds at night, or climbing a craggy rock to find a raven's nest. Like a true romantic, Wordsworth was unhappy in the city. He felt that in the city was a noise and confused. So he was going back to nature. He seemed to sense in the lakes and mountains a kindred spirit. He found that in our natural environment, the true homeland of the human soul, where our emotions find their true outlet, and where our tired, our confused become calm and clear. The analysis of a poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. The themes are nature's beauty, loneliness, and happiness. The most prevalent themes in this poem are overcoming feelings of sadness and the beauty of nature. The poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud is a poem that just makes you feel good about life. It says that even when you are by yourself and lonely and missing your friend, you can use your imagination to find new friends in the world around you, including nature. Also, here I found some figurative language. The first is simile. I wandered lonely as a cloud. In the poem, the poet compares himself to a cloud. The word wander means roaming around without a purpose. That's why the poet compares himself to a cloud that walking without a purpose. The second is when all at once I saw a crowd. This is a personification. In the poem, The word crowd refers to a large number of daffodils. As we know, the meaning of crowd is a large number of people gathered together in a disorganized and unruly way. So here, the poet makes the daffodil seems like human beings. The third continues as the stars that shined. The kind of the figurative language is simile. This phrase becomes a simile because the poet compares the daffodils with the stars. The flowers stretch continuously without a break, like the stars in the Milky Way galaxy, each one shining like a star. The fourth is they stretch in never-ending line. I think it is a hyperbole because it is impossible that the line of daffodils could not have been really never ending, because we know that all living creatures in the world will inevitably will die in due time. And the five is tossing their hands in sprightly dance. It is a personification because it shows the daffodils it shows that daffodils can move and dance like humans' behavior.
Okay, now we're moved to Mary Shelley. Who was Mary Shelley? Shelley was born Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin on August 30, 1797, in London, England, and she died on 1851. She was the daughter of philosopher and political writer William Godwin and famed feminist Mary Wollstonecraft, the author of The Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Sadly, for Shelley, she never really knew her mother, who died shortly after her birth. Her father, William Godwin, was left to care for Shelley and her older half-sister, Fanny Imlay. Imlay was Wollstonecraft's daughter from an affair she had with a soldier. Mary Shelley published her most famous novel, Frankenstein, in 1818, and she wrote several novels, including Faberga in 1823, The Last Man, 1826, the autobiographical Lodore, 1835, and the posthumously published Matilda. Now let's take a look to her most famous novel, Frankenstein. Frankenstein was first published in 1818. It was written originally by Mary Shelley as a short story when the poet Lord Byron suggested that each member of a group of friends write a ghostly tale to keep themselves entertained. Mary's story was the undoubted winner. Written at a time of great social change, Frankenstein is about the power of scientific ambition and the dangers of going a step too far. Frankenstein tells the story of gifted scientist Victor Frankenstein, who succeeds in giving life to a being of his own creation. However, this is not the perfect specimen he imagines that it will be, but rather a hideous creature who is rejected by Victor and mankind in general. The monster seeks its revenge through murder and terror. Now let's take a look at the picture of the plot of Frankenstein. So, the first, Robert Walton meets Victor Frankenstein. And then Frankenstein develops an obsession with science. Then Frankenstein creates his monster, and then the monster kills William, but Justin is executed for it. And then the monster and Frankenstein meet again. The monster begged Frankenstein to build it a wife. Frankenstein agrees, but destroys the new creation. Frankenstein marries Elizabeth, but the monster murders her. And finally, Frankenstein dies, and the monster also goes off to die. So this story, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, looks at what happens when one man decided to play God. His action ultimately led to his own downfall.
The next one is Percy Shelley. The biography. Percy Shelley or Percy Shelley was born on August 4, 1792, from Timothy Shelley, a squire and parliament member, and Elizabeth Pilford couple. He is the first of 7 children. Percy Shelley went to study at Shon House Academy at the age of 10. Then he continued enrolled at Eton College at the age of 12. He is also in 1810 entered Oxford University. Percy Shelley married and had 2 wives and 3 children from it. He then died on July 8, 1822 because he was drowning. Who was he? Percy Shelley was a distinguished English romantic author and was one among the foremost extremely regarded and powerful poets of the 19th century, and known for his lyrical and long-form verse. He is also the husband of Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. Percy Shelley's work focused on feeling and individualism, in addition to glorification of the past and of nature. His work consists of 23 poems, an essay, and a novel. His work. One of his famous works in poetry is Music When Soft Voice Died. The poem was written in 1821, only a year before the accident, and published in posthumous poem of Percy Bysshe Shelley in 1824 for the first time, with a preface by Shelley's widow, the Frankenstein author Mary Shelley. The poems tell about how to get to the center of the matters and offer vivid, unforgettable instance of the facility of human memories.
Okay, that's all our presentation for today. Thank you for reading and listening to our PowerPoint. If you have any question, you can ask us, and we hope we can answer your question well. Thank you, and saranghae!